welcome to the channel and welcome to today's video where we talk about maximizing our driver distance. And there are some easy steps to maximize your driving distance just by technique, and that's what this video is all about. We're going to do this step by step on how to maximize your driving distance. And step number one is we got to have centerness of contact. We got to hit that golf ball in the middle of the club face. So I'll grab my driver. And what I mean by the middle is right here in this sweet spot. You can see here on the camera, right here in the middle. They even kind of have a diagram here. That is a sweet spot to maximize distance. That's your easiest way. Well, you say, well, how do I know that? Well, there's some easy ways to check step number one and making centerness of contact. First thing you could do is go online and buy you some of this face tape. It'll come in a roll just like this. It's got little stickers on here. And you put it right here on your driver head. Get it in position here. Put it right there on that sweet spot. And then whenever you hit the golf ball, it'll put a little mark on here. And you'll be able to tell if you're hitting it on the toe or on the heel, or high or low on the club face, and then you can make your adjustments. Another way, the way that I choose to do so, is to take some foot powder spray. So I've got my Dr. Scholl's Odor X. You can use whatever brand you want. This one here works really well, I found. Shake it up. That's a good idea to put it low to the ground just so you don't get it everywhere. Just coat it about that much, and you can see on camera it has got a white film on my driver head. So now when I hit this golf ball, I'll be able to see if I'm hitting it on the toe, on the heel, if I'm hitting it high on the face, low on the face, or in the center. Again, my goal is to hit this ball in the middle of the club face to maximize my driver distance in step number one. All right, so I hit that one pretty well, but now let's look at our feedback. And you can look here on the driver, you can see this little mark right here at the bottom. That's where the tee was, because I'm using a rubber tee. You can see where my golf club struck the golf ball. Pretty close to the center. Looks like I have a little bit of a tendency to hit the ball on the heel and a little bit high on the face. So I'll make some adjustments on that. But that's an easy way in step number one to see what your pattern is. I know I need to work on this. I would hit a few more shots, making some adjustments, try to get it in the center to maximize my distance in step number one. Step number two in maximizing our driver distance is making sure our ball is teed up to the correct height. And this will depend on the height of your driver head. So what we want to do is if that driver is sitting on the ground, we want to tee the ball up to the right height to where half of that golf ball is above the driver head when the driver's sitting on the ground to maximize our distance in step number two. Step number three is ball position. We got to have this ball position forward of our stance. I've got a red alignment rod here illustrating the location of the ball relative to my feet, and we don't want this ball to be right between our feet. We don't want it definitely back of our stance. We want it forward. I like to put my heel the inside of my lead foot, which is my left foot, being right-handed, like to put my heel right there at the ball when I'm hitting my driver to maximize my distance. We do this to get the height we need to maximize our distance. So again, step number three, ball position forward. Step number four is we got to have a little bit of side bend at setup. So what I mean by that, if I set up here naturally, now I'm going to add a little bit of side bend. I'm just going to right here at my waist, I'm going to simply just lean to the right. Left for you here on the camera. So I'll illustrate that again. I'm just going to simply bend my spine and have a little bit of side bend in this swing. Again, to help us maximize our trajectory and maximize our distance. Step number four, have a little bit of side bend. Step number five is to have a nice low and wide backswing. We do not want to start this swing by lifting the club up in the air. Many of you do that. You're robbing yourself a distance. You're probably not going to hit it very solid down here at the bottom. we've got to start this on a nice low and wide arc. You'll see myself and pros rehearse number one sequence in the golf swing, that one-piece takeaway before they hit, because we got to start this nice low and wide part of the swing. Again, don't lift the golf club up, just rotate low and back and keep it low and wide on that backswing for step number 5. Step number 6 is keep your nose behind the golf ball. We got to keep our nose behind the golf ball when we're swinging driver, and we got to time things to where at impact our hands arrive at the ball the same time the club does. When we're hitting iron shots and we're trying to hit the ball in the ground, hit a ball, make a divot, we'll want to have a little forward shaft lean. This is where a lot of you struggle with hitting the ball to the right, because you'll get out in front of it, now the face is wide open and it peels off to the right. Not only will this help you with distance, it'll help you with that. So you got to time this to where you keep your nose behind the ball. In other words, I don't want my nose in front of the golf ball at impact. At impact, I want to keep my nose right here. And I want my hands to arrive at the ball at the same time as the club. Not here. I want them to arrive. I got to let that club pass in front of me. A great way to practice this is just do a slow motion backswing and stop at the ball. If I come in here, keep my nose behind the ball and make sure my hands arrive at the same time the club head does. Again, don't get out in front of it like this. Step number 7, which is our final step in this video on maximizing your driver distance, is keeping the golf club, the driver head, low after impact. This will help so many of you. Besides hitting the ball in the center of the club face, this is probably the most important tip that we're giving you. We got to keep that driver head low after the ball and let the club get this ball in the air. All these other things we do at setup will get the ball in the air. Where many of you get in trouble is your subconscious will think at the last minute, oh, I got to help this golf ball up. You'll stand up out of your posture. You'll lift your arms up. Don't do that. We want to have a nice U shape to the bottom of this swing. We want it to be nice and rounded at the bottom. That's why we got to start it low and then we got to finish it low. You know, if I was going to do a touch and go landing with an airplane, I wouldn't come in real steep. I would crash. I want to come in nice and just touch that fairway, or excuse me, touch that runway and then go up. I don't want to come down nice. I don't want to come down nice and rounded and then come way up either. You got to keep that driver low. And in number 7 in the golf sequence, if you watch that video, it'll really help you understand what we're talking about with 1 and then 7. But with 7, both arms are straight and that driver is low after impact in order to maximize your distance. Now let's review what we talked about in these 7 steps. Step number 1, we got to hit the ball in the middle of the club face. You know, go get you some foot powder spray, some face tape, and know your tendencies and work on hitting the ball in the middle of the club face. Step number 2, tee that ball up with your driver on the ground, about a half of that ball above it in step number 2. Step number 3, we got to have that ball position forward. And then step number 4, we got to have a little bit of side bend or side tilt just to help us maximize that distance. Step number 5, we got to start the swing low and wide. And then step number 6, we got to keep our nose behind the golf ball and time the swing to where our hands arrive at the golf ball the same time the club head does. And then step number 7, we got to finish low and get both arms straight before we come up and finish our swing. Now that I said that, let me hit one and see if we can apply all these things. Get my good setup, get a little side bend. Rehearse my nice wide takeaway, keep my nose behind the golf ball, and keep the club low. And I know you can't see it on the camera, but I piped that. Definitely maximizing my distance. I know this video will help you. Remember, push that subscribe button, that like button. We'll see you later. Remember to smile often, have fun. God loves you. We'll see you next time.